Christmas night. She's a fucking delight. Winter cold to hot summer rays, reindeer will fly, pulling Santa's sleigh. Two countries, a world away, the same holiday. The Cloud Queen cares for everyone. Her roller coaster ride has only just begun. This is her wish. Debug, demystify, destigmatize. Miss Shorty's on the naughty list. Dance tunings and Christmas sound. Her global roller coaster goes around. It's the holidays at every turn. She is a Christmas star out of Melbourne. Miss Shorty connects all the lights, just checking all bright to light up Christmas night. She's a fucking delight.
Hey shorties, how you going? What's doing? I'm just having some issues with my earbuds. Give me a moment. And my mouse. So yay, give me a second. Who's here? Taryn's here. Danny's here. Annie's here. Good to see you all. It's been quite a week, everybody. It's been quite a week. Give me a second. And my mouse, like honestly. Hang on. I'm going to play a song while I do this. Wait. Sorry. It's all right. There's only a handful of you here. We'll get going in a second. And maybe this song will help me because I'm feeling really flat right now. Clearly.
I ain't a man of violent ways, not a man of violent ways. My strategy is apathy. No arguing, no fights, just love and empathy. Time fades, the fire's light. Apathy can be your answer. No need to join the fight, 'cause both sides are wrong and both sides are right. Give it a try and see. Give it a day to confirm. It's clear to think about the long term. This world is full of chaos. It can make emotions boil. Reacting makes it worse. Igniting scorn and turmoil. I ain't a man of violent ways, not a man of violent ways. My strategy is apathy. No arguing, no fights, just love and empathy. Time fades, the fire's light. Just relax, don't get cross. Purge all bad emotions. Be at peace, ease your thoughts, and mind your compassion. There ain't no need to fight, 'cause both sides are wrong and both sides are right. Fights are a ruse, an endless game. There is nothing to lose and nothing to gain. This world is full of chaos. It can make emotions boil. Reacting makes it worse. Igniting scorn and turmoil. I ain't a man of violent ways. that is what I need to do.
Hey, yay, I got it sorted. I got the earbuds working and I got the keyboard working and the mouse working, winning at life. Not so much. Anyway, so just also tweeting this out. Sorry, team. Ernie, enjoy your time out with the family. Thank you for everything you do. Taryn, it looks like it's just going to be you today. I hope you're ready. We are properly professionals. Hi, Poppy. Good to see you. So, it's been a week. Before we get going on this live stream, proper, there's a couple of things I need to say. Poppy, I can't have that right now. I love you. I can't have that right now. So, you've got this, Taryn. Of course you have. You're a mod avenger extraordinaire. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. And I'm sorry in advance if So, like, I'm just doing my thing, right? I'm generally pretty approachable, pretty cruisy, pretty easy going, and just whatever. This week has tested that for me, this week and the end of last week. And honestly, it's not okay. So, like, whatever you all, replay crew, you guys here in chat, whatever you think about me, however you feel about me, I can't change that. If you have a problem with me, and that's fine, same. If you have a problem with me, I would really love for you, whoever it is, generally women, to talk to me about it. To not send emails pretending to be someone else, to not send emails to other creators to air your grievances about what could be easily and readily and simply sorted by talking with each other, me and you, yeah? So, like, I'm putting myself out here, right? I'm putting myself out there as a YouTuber and as someone with quite a strong personality, that it seems, and I do have a strong personality, but I'm also human and huge on communication and huge on accountability. So you've all, I'm sure, heard me previously, and if you haven't, it's there. I put my hand up and say, I'm sorry, I didn't handle that situation well. I'm sorry, I probably wasn't considering your feelings, and that's on me. But to have an onslaught of a variety of people, women mostly, like, coming at me, like, it's not okay, and I don't want to feel like I'm feeling. So, and the stuff that people have been saying about me in chats and alluding to in cryptic stuff, and this is across the board. This is not directed at one single person, and anybody who almost anybody who I'm putting into this group of things that could have been sorted privately, all bar one. I have talked with those people privately since, so we're good. We're good. But I have a lot of rage and frustration at the moment. It's affecting my sleeping, my eating, my relationship with Adam, and that's not fair. So that's all I'm going to say. Talk to me, direct message me, email me as yourself, not as somebody else, not as your daughter, not as anybody else. DM me on Twitter. Yeah? Catch me in Discord. Hell, if you want my fucking phone number, I'll give it to you. If you want to talk, there's so many ways. Messenger, just none of this. Yeah, this is fucked. So I wrote a song. I've been writing some lyrics, because I have a lot of rage and I have nowhere to express them. I'm unmedicated. I'm someone who has addiction in my past, and I can't go back to that addiction. And I tell you what, these last 10 days, all I've wanted to do is go back to my addiction. And so, honestly, whatever you all reasons are for hating on me and gossiping about me, whether it's on a live stream as the creator or in chats or amongst yourselves, that's fucked, man. That's mean girl shit. And if you knew, you can tell, right? How dark I'm feeling at the moment. And if that's your intention, so I fuck around and find out, yeah, because I'm saying all this now to say let's talk. But if you want to keep going with all of this, you people in future, fuck around and find out. I have rage, I have frustration, and I'm feeling attacked from so many people who actually just could have talked to me. Talk to me. I'm going to take myself a screen and play a song that's just audio. No video. And that's okay. It doesn't need a video. It says everything. It says everything. Enjoy. Honestly, I've listened to this song about 250, maybe 300 times. It's my lyrics, AI music.
It's come to my attention that you think I have bad intentions. You misinterpret every word I say, reading the things never there, but hey, don't fuck with me. Game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro. I'm the epitome of poison class. You need a girl, sit down that ass. You need to realize I will call you out, even as I grace you with the benefit of doubt. You've put on quite a show. It's time we talk this out. It's true you're trying to still steal my glow, but I'm truly not put out. It's pretty clear you made a choice, my words to misconstrue. But I simply don't hold grudges, so girlfriend, you do you. Perhaps you don't believe it, but trust me, this much is true. If you fuck around, you will find out. So girl, I promise you, don't fuck with me. Game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro. Trust me, this much is true. If you fuck around, you will find out. So girl, I promise you, don't fuck with me. Game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro.
That song is what's got me through this week, honestly. It's been a fucking week, yeah. I mean it, but I also mean everything else. So let's talk. If you all want to keep going, fuck around and find out. I'm cool with that. I'm nice until I'm not. So, moving on. Good to see you. Yep. It's okay. It's just miscommunication colors. And or lack of communication. Let's talk. Let's talk. Everyone. I love talking. Difficult conversations. Let's do it. So thank you for indulging me, chat. It's going to take some it's going to take this. Anyway, we got this. We've got this. What have we got? We're talking about something that's really quite like I have a very good friend, one of my closest, dearest friends, has direct experience. Her daughter has direct experience with the person and this group and this bunch of behaviors. Yeah, Taryn, deep breaths and loud music and throwing a lot of stuff. I've broken a lot of things in the last couple of days. I had a meltdown last night for like 6 full hours. A culmination of everything. Anyway, 764. It's an worldwide online child extortion group. Yeah. Exploiting children and vulnerable people like LGBTQI plus people through Discord. 764 started as a Discord server. It's called 764 bot. It's my understanding because there was 764 moderators. Yikes, that's the moderators. And basically CSAM, both the generating, creating, and sharing distribution of CSAM, child sexual assault material, engaging, inciting young people to self-harm, to self-mutilate. So I've got a couple of videos, but my very good friend in Australia, her daughter was a direct victim of the vile human who is featured in this. I thought we'd start with yeah, thanks, Danny. So I've wanted to do this for a while, but also it's such a big topic, and it's taken me a while to feel like I'm confident and properly informed enough to go into it. It kind of ties in with our Jonestown thing. It's very cult-like behavior. Thanks, Colors. Writing music is fun, and I envision myself in the film clip to that. But I'm almost 50 and nobody needs to see some old lady, white girl, being so very white. Okay, Danny, thank you. I'll check. Thank you, darling. So let's start with the broader look at this. And Taryn, we may get copyright stricken for this. If I get a warning, I'll have to pull it. I've got other things that won't be copyright stricken, but this is a CBC channel. So we'll see. Canadian Broadcasting. Wait, is this one? I feel like it probably is. Yep. Okay. Let me just go back to StreamYard and get it sorted here. I'm going to play this. Exactly, Taryn. Okay, let's see. So this is about 40 minutes long, but we might not be. We may get it there. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it. Let's go.
This story contains mature subject matter with scenes that may be disturbing to some viewers, including references to sexual assault, violence, and suicide. Viewer discretion is advised.
On this edition of The Fifth Estate,
breaking news out of Henry County, where a nationwide Amber Alert has been issued for a young girl.
tranquility shatters in a small Virginia town when a 12-year-old goes missing.
And I honestly did not know if we'd recover her alive.
The young girl's abductor was a member of an online hate group.
I was 11 when we met on Instagram, and then we eventually moved to Discord.
I'll just say this isn't the same. They're talking about a different hate group. It's not the 764. I thought this would give us a pretty broad understanding of what can go on in Discord servers. Not our Discord server, not mine, not Adam's, but it's very much a place where predators can lurk. So yeah, so no Discord shade, but predatorial CSAM exploitative Discord servers are, yeah.
The popular platform with private chat rooms where experts say predators hide.
Discord stands out for the cross-fertilization of racist, misogynistic, and anti-Semitic material.
The dark corners online where underage victims are being lured and groomed at alarming rates.
We believe that's probably only the tip of the iceberg.
And where extremists plot real-world acts of violence.
Police say the attack was partially live-streamed.
What are authorities doing?
Oftentimes, those extremist type groups don't come to the attention of law enforcement until it's too late.
And who is protecting the children?
You have blood on your hands.
We should be worried for our children.
I'm Joanna Rumel-Yotis. This is The Fifth Estate.
Henry County is a typical county here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're about 384 square miles. A mostly rural community. I would classify Henry County as being a very safe location.
I'm going to speed it up a little.
We don't typically see those kind of crimes here in a rural community like Henry County.
1.25 because I'm in.
In February 2021, 12-year-old Allie Broadway was abducted from her home in Virginia by 21-year-old Caleb Merritt. He was a member of a hate group targeting minors in the U.S. and Canada. She had met him online a few months before.
I've always been a little bit more reserved than some people, and I've always been told that I was more mature for my age. Before I met Caleb, my mental health was a sensitive topic.
I have raised Allie. She would go to school and they'd make fun of her because she didn't have a mom and daddy.
I didn't want to be here.
Allie used to self-harm and had tried to kill herself before. She says she was suicidal when she met Merritt on social media.
I was 11 when we met on Instagram. I met him through these internet challenges that we're going through. The first challenge that he gave me was to carve his name into my thigh with a razor. When I sent him a picture, and then he was like, okay, I can get this person to listen to me. And I feel like that's where the whole thing just kind of started.
A dark connection between an adult and a troubled child became even more twisted. Merritt groomed her by making her feel special.
I kind of fell in love because he talked to me and he gave me the attention that I kind of needed. I was in a time period in my life where I didn't feel like I was worth much, and nothing really that I found to help really helped.
Did he encourage you to hurt yourself?
Yes, many times on multiple occasions. He would tell me to cut different words or just lines in general.
Shari, I have something very interesting to play. I'll play it after this based on your comment there. Shari says, I can't even imagine having Facebook or Instagram around when I was 11. Australia, just this week, have introduced new laws making the minimum age for all social media in Australia for children 16. So I've got a little news clip to play for that, but we'll get to it. We'll do this first.
And just go as deep as I could. And eventually I managed to get a hold of a box cutter, and that allowed me to go even deeper.
The manipulation escalated in shadowy online corners.
We eventually moved to Discord because he felt like it was a better place for us to message, which I later figured out was because he thought he'd get away with more on it.
Merritt invited Allie to a private chat room on Discord. Discord started out as a gaming app, but experts say its private chat rooms have turned it into a preferred platform for predators, including an emerging network of extremists who deliberately target vulnerable kids. Merritt was a member of one of those groups called CVLT, or Cult.
He just said it was like a community of people that would get together and share similar interests and ideas and hobbies. Racist and homophobic and anti-Semitic values. He convinced me to be racist, to hate anyone that wasn't white. And of course, that's not who I am today because I realized his lies. It made me feel like I was important, that I had worth because of the sole fact that I wasn't those things. It was based off of this one, it used to be a cult, Order of Nine Angles. So his username had 09A in it.
Who are we? Who are we?
The 09A, or the Order of Nine Angles, originated in the United Kingdom in the 1970s as a satanic anarchist movement committed to destroying society through acts of violence and terrorism. Experts say the 09A has influenced several neo-Nazi groups who have also migrated and mushroomed online.
It's not a new thing. The Order of Nine Angles, historically, its roots are deeply vowed into anti-Semitism when it started back in the 70s. 09A is a decentralized thing because it's an ideology. It's not, there's not like a headquarters where it is.
CVLT, or Cult, the group Merritt belonged to, is one of several 09A-inspired hate groups. Their alleged members are considered especially depraved because they specifically target minors.
They are interconnected in such a way that the older style of white supremacists or neo-Nazis, that's been borrowed and then reborn in these groups. Anti-Semitism, anti-Islam, anti-LGBTQ. This stuff is all just living all together there, which is often violent far-right movements.
How concerning is it, this kind of group?
Because of the populations that it's targeting, i.e. youth or other vulnerable populations, it for me is a dangerous situation. Folks are willing to victimize and recruit and radicalize and do whatever to minors. It is just, it goes from 0 to, the max, like very, very quickly.
Despite its links to the far right, 09A's offshoots are not whites-only movements. Court documents obtained by the Fifth Estate after the recent arrests of 2 alleged members reveal horrific violence. 18-year-old Kalana Limpkin from Hawaii was arrested last December for being part of an 09A offshoot called 764, as well as the founder of the splinter group Cultist that prosecutors say promotes child pornography, as well as child exploitation and self-harm of minors. 22-year-old Angel Almeida of New York is another alleged 764 member who police say exploited multiple minor victims and held one of them at gunpoint while posing for a photograph and convinced her to cut her neck so that he could drink her blood. Both men have pleaded not guilty and are awaiting trial.
Certainly, this type of predator is probably one of the most dangerous out there if they're causing physical harm, as well as being able to manipulate and create emotional trauma to that youth.
In Winnipeg, the Canadian Centre for Child Protection's tip line has seen a disturbing rise in cases on Discord, from 140 reports in 2021 to more than 500 last year.
We believe that's probably only the tip of the iceberg, because we know there are lots of situations out there that are not being reported.
Stephen Sauer recently met with the RCMP. It's not clear if the same hate groups are behind the Discord cases, but there are disturbing similarities.
We've seen cases where individuals who connect with youth on Discord are encouraging them to self-harm, are encouraging them to commit suicide, and then record the cutting of themselves so that the offender can then use that recording to further manipulate and extort the child. They will ask them to engage in sexual acts that are extreme in some ways, and they are using it to blackmail the child and extort them to create further imagery in this space. That's really kind of the crux of what we're seeing on Discord.
Then there's the added horror of not knowing who the predators are hiding behind the screen.
My daughter and I have a very good relationship. We have a connection that only her and I have. All of a sudden flipped. I didn't know who she was anymore. Somebody else. Guiding, grooming my daughter.
We are not disclosing who this Canadian father is in order to protect his 15-year-old daughter's identity.
End of June, that's when I saw the cuts on her arm. The following week, she carved the name culprit in one of her legs. When I spoke to her, she said I was part of a cult and I was overwhelmed by a cult, but I wanted to just receive information. Carved the name culprit in one of her legs. When I spoke to her, she said I was part of a cult and I was overwhelmed by cult, but I wanted to just receive and hear information.
His daughter had struggled with her mental health for years. She was vulnerable and she was getting worse.
The end of August, I got a call saying my daughter had tried to kill herself. And then everything after that was just, every day felt like a week. There was so much information to try and take in and understand.
Hey, Denny. So if you're just coming in, welcome. Thank you for being here. Jess, don't worry about it. Better late than never, girl. Thank you for coming. Taryn, you have another Avenger with you. It's just Taryn and you tonight. Jess, I believe. I think Ernie's listening, but yeah, it's just us. So we're talking about online predators who use Discord and other social media platforms to target, exploit, and incite vulnerable vulnerable people like LGBTQI plus and minors into doing all sorts of things. Like if you read my description, right up to and including and distributing, creating and distributing and sharing CSAM and and even snuff films. Like, this is wild. So we're talking about big picture, then I'm going to narrow it into the 764 cult in particular, and Kyle Spitze, one of the main perpetrators, who is now in federal prison and awaiting trial. He's currently going to be looking at 15 years, but he has other charges about to be brought. And a very good friend of mine, her daughter has had direct experience with Kyle Spitze himself. It's wild.
Did you have any idea that she was chatting with someone older?
Well, no. She told me he was 14, I think, something of that nature.
He told me a fake age.
I thought it was just talking. She wouldn't stay off the phone with him.
On those calls, Allie says Merritt pressured her to send sexually explicit material of herself and to keep cutting.
He would have me take different videos of myself. He would have me take pictures of myself.
When he told you to cut yourself to prove that you loved him, what went through your mind?
I knew it hurt, and I knew that it at some point just became addicting. Every time I did something wrong, cut. Every time I mess up, every time I make a mistake, slice. It was just an ongoing cycle. He would say, if you don't do this, then you don't love me.
I know, Shari, you're good.
That hurt because I was like, I do love you. And that's why I am doing these things, and I am doing these things to myself. I wish I wouldn't have, and I wish I would have saw the red flags right away, but I didn't. I just wanted someone to love me.
We see things like individuals who are love bombing. So that means that they're flattering, they're often like talking all the time about loving the child and manipulating them into believing that they're in a relationship with the offender. They then use that as a control tactic.
Can I just say, if you're coming in late or if you're lurking, hi lurkers, hi replay crew, and hi chat. If you're coming in late, stick with us now, but might be worthwhile going back to the start and watching from the start because, yeah, it was just me bearing my soul. You know me. But also, while I think of it, let's just play this.
Tactic as well. I'll never be able to chat with you again if you tell anyone about this.
One day, I started talking to him, and he was like, okay, I need to get out of Texas. He used the excuse that the police had found something back home, and they had called him to the station to talk to him about it. So I was like, okay, I have this spot in my woods. I guess you could bring a tent or something and then just come stay there. The next day or a day after that, he started his venture to Virginia.
But Discord had alerted authorities, and police were worried.
We received a
See you when you get back, Shari.
Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in Bedford, Virginia. They had received information from the Discord application that 2 users on the Discord app were communicating, one being a minor female and one being an adult affiliated with the CBO.
I've also got something really wild to show you at the end of this one. With relation to Discord and Kyle Spitze, and it's like wild. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, excited, crazy. Like, this is serious.
DLT cult crew.
In this case, she was physically safe through the barriers of the internet, but that line got crossed once he actually drove here.
Approximately 20-hour drive from Texas to our jurisdiction here in Virginia.
Well, we were deeply concerned about what was happening to her. We knew he had driven here from Texas. That showed he had a high level of commitment, and we didn't ultimately know what his goal was for her.
When we come back, Allie wasn't the only one in danger. The race to find her and a Canadian father's shocking discovery.
We are continuing to follow breaking news tonight of an Amber Alert.
A young girl is thought to be in extreme danger. 21-year-old Caleb Merritt has abducted 12-year-old Allie Broadway.
He had started that venture that night. And then he just kept going until he got there. I was scared. I didn't know what was about to happen. But once he got here, he primarily kept his car parked at Bojangles. The Bojangles is probably maybe a mile from my house. He knew where I lived. He had set up a tent here into the woods.
Merritt traveled to Virginia earlier this month and set up a camp in the woods behind Broadway's home.
Through the contextual information from the messages that were provided from the Discord, I was able to find he had come from Texas. and drove to meet up with the female juvenile.
To me, it shows a high level of desperation. You know, he's willing to drive across most of the United States to get here to interact with a 12-year-old girl. And ultimately, that's with ill intention. So that's definitely concerning to us once it's brought to our attention.
In early February 2021, 21-year-old Caleb Merritt met 12-year-old Allie Broadway in person for the first time after months of grooming her on Discord.
I would bring him food because I didn't want him to starve. I wanted to take care of him.
How did you feel in his company? Did you feel scared?
Horrified. I was also brainwashed into thinking that this man cared about me and my safety. He would try to start sexual things with me several times. I am about 100 pounds and 4'11". He did rape me while he was back there. And I had no control over it because he was a lot taller than me. I was scared to death. I remember crying through every bit of it and
Hang on, chat. There's a lot of these going on. Goodness, thank goodness we've got these bumpers. Anyway, Trigger, if you need to step away, please feel that, look after yourself first, always.
bawling my eyes out when I would get home that night because I didn't know what happened to me.
We found out that he was using Planet Fitness for their bathroom facilities to take showers, brush his teeth.
Police pinned Merritt using his phone signal and paid him a visit.
I met up with Kayla Merritt. Juvenile's age was brought up during the conversation. He acknowledged that he knew her age and that didn't appear to deter him from any of his activity. So that obviously brought up a red flag in my mind. During the interview, enough detail was given to allow me to lawfully seize his electronic devices that he had on his person.
But at that point in the investigation, you couldn't arrest him.
We did not. Unfortunately, no, at this point, he had just not crossed that barrier where he had committed any crime that's defined by the Code of Virginia.
After they questioned Merritt, officers decided to check on Allie.
The night before I was taken, I was sitting at the house. He texted me, I would say at about 6:30 that night, and was like, hide your phone. The police just came and took one of my phones. They're on their way to your house. We heard a knocking on the door, and the police showed up.
When this policeman come here, wanted her cell phone, that was the beginning of it.
Police took Allie's phone.
I still had my school iPad. He still had his flip phone that he used to message me prior. He was like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here fast. You need to come with me. He had pulled his car, like drove past, pulled up his car, and I threw my stuff in and got in the passenger seat.
In British Columbia, a father's horrifying journey continued after his daughter tried to kill herself.
That first day in the emergency room, I did take my daughter's phone and had her unlock it. Her browser was open on her phone, and it was open to Discord. And that's when I started to see the messaging between her and this person, 764.
Like the hate group Merritt belonged to, police say 764 and his followers are extremists who target minors online.
I think about my own kids. I think that potential is way too much, because one person can also be sitting there, talking to 20 other people at a time, radicalizing them or getting them to do self-harm or those types of things. It's kind of the Wild West out there sometimes.
This is what it's like to set up.
Katie Ray has 1.3 million followers on TikTok and uses her platform to educate people about online dangers. What she uncovered about 764 was terrifying.
This video is for educational purposes. A user reached out and asked for support, and I uncovered a self-harm group called 764. 764 function on applications like Discord. They are self-proclaimed cults that are attached to government-known hate groups and terrorist organizations across several different countries. On Reddit, there was an astronomical number of testimonies from minor children and adults over the generations who have survived this cult. The perpetrators being anyone hiding behind anonymity on the internet inside of these Discord chats. It truly is a helpless, vicious cycle that these children find themselves in.
It is so important that this information is out there. These children are real. They are experiencing real harm.
When I elevated this story, like others, I got a rapid response from the public, And the call to action was encouraging the public to report it to the FBI.
A young lady in the hospital because of one of them.
A few weeks later, the FBI released an extraordinary public service announcement, warning groups like 764 and Cult target minors between 8 and 17 years old, especially LGBTQ+ youth, racial minorities, and those who struggle with mental health issues, such as depression and suicidal ideation. The FBI says the group's end goal is forcing minors into committing suicide on live stream for their own entertainment or their own sense of fame.
The thing that I find unique and particularly disturbing with these groups is the level of violence, just the sheer, the propensity to act out violently in the real world. These are all things that make this stand out to me.
Matt Richardson works with the US-based Anti-Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative.
So if you search some of the groups named by the FBI, can we see what shows up?
Sure, let's pick one, CBLT I seem to remember. But what I'll point out here is that very quickly a Roblox group.
Roblox is a gaming site?
Oh, yes, Roblox is a game that's popular for many age groups. So what they're doing here is saying, hey, this is a Roblox community.
So this is a luring tactic.
Yeah, this would appear to be a luring tactic or potentially an example of a honeypot. People will create servers for any number of topics that weight, eating disorders, poor self-esteem, poor body image, among others. It attracts the attention of people that are vulnerable. Discord's a pretty user-friendly platform. It's easy to create accounts, multiple accounts if one wishes, create and delete servers. The other factor would be the layer of anonymity it affords, because when we create channels on Discord, we can have to make them private or public if they're made private, so predators can avoid detection by police or even concerned parents.
I still didn't know what was going on. I thought she was in her bedroom. She wasn't in there. Then that's when I really got concerned. And I couldn't believe, honestly, that she had left. So I called one of the social workers that we had. And she said, well, just go ahead and call 911.
911, where's your emergency? Inspector came up here last night and took her telephone and her tablet and told me not to let her leave. She has left without me knowing it.
Police had just finished searching Merritt's phone when the 911 call came in.
About the same time child pornography was found on his phone, the juvenile was reported missing.
My gut feeling was telling me that he was going to make an attempt to get back to Texas. But there's a lot of things that can occur between Virginia and Texas, you know.
We begin tonight with an Amber Alert.
A young girl is thought to be in extreme danger. 21-year-old Caleb Merritt has abducted 12-year-old Allie Broadway.
When Amber Alert went out, we were concerned, with this national media attention, is he going to panic and kill her to get rid of her?
I didn't know what was about to happen, and I was fearing for my life. We drove for a little bit, just drove anywhere we could.
We knew she was in extreme danger. So it made that case absolute all hands on deck and top priority for the sheriff's office.
When we come back, the race to find Allie in time and the devastating harm when online extremists cross over into the real world.
And how old is your granddaughter? 12. She may be with an 18-year-old. Her name is Allie Broadway. All right, hold on. All right, what was your last name wearing?
We deal with missing and runaway juveniles regularly. This has additional complexities.
Winter weather advisory in effect for all areas south of US 460.
A major ice storm that moved in. The FBI had a tremendous amount of resources that would have been available to us, but they were unable to move them here because the highways it was dangerous travel conditions. Right in the midst of this, we had a major power outage. We lost power here at the sheriff's office.
I got on one of those roads that had ice on it, and I never got home. I missed a road.
We put a tremendous amount of work into this in a very short period of time. Literally prayed for a successful resolution. It was truly all hands on deck.
We ended up almost at Emporia, then ended up in Henderson, North Carolina. Once we reached Henderson, North Carolina, he stopped at a McDonald's, got food. I couldn't eat. I didn't have any sort of appetite. I was still scared for my life. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I'd ever see my family again. I didn't know if I'd ever be a normal person again after that.
Both the juvenile and Caleb Merritt were located the next day in Henderson, North Carolina.
Mr. Merritt had entered a business there in that locality and made a phone call, which is ultimately what led us to that location.
When the police found me, I was scared. They just pulled up beside us. And then all of a sudden, a big wad of people come out of a tiny little car with flashlights and guns drawn. I was horrified. I was scared. I just remember them having him roll down the window and them saying, "Get out the car, get out the car." Still to this day, really bright lights in the dark still kind of triggers me.
The local authorities took Mr. Merritt into custody and began to speak with the victim in this case. It became immediately apparent that this grown man had psychologically abused this young child for his own self-gratification to convince her that she was in love with him. Unfortunately, we're the law enforcement profession here in America. We're reactive oftentimes and not proactive, so we have to wait on an individual to break the law. Because one of the things that we are behind on is the ones who operate under the cloak of the internet, like the CVLT. Oftentimes those extremist type groups don't come to the attention of law enforcement until it's too late. They've already been involved and committed a crime.
Police say the shooter was radicalized online. The attack was fueled by hate, driven to hate by the so-called Great Replacement theory. It's been tied to other mass shootings, including 2019's in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Police say the attack was partially live-streamed. 180-page manifesto posted online belongs to the alleged gunman.
A crossover offense is when we see people acting in a criminal fashion online who then transition over to the real world, the physical one, and commit physical acts of violence.
But who is tracking the escalation of violence? And do platforms like Discord help criminals hide in the shadows?
There's no accountability at all. And the law does not always have a remedy for every wrong. The law has to adapt to technology and social change. As of now, that adaptation is in process and incomplete.
Matthew Bergman's law firm represents families looking for answers and accountability.
These companies have been able to utilize Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act as a vehicle to kind of shut down cases before they even get past the starting gate.
That's because that law shields tech companies from liability for third-party content on their platforms, even if the material is illegal or illicit. The push to tighten that law is growing.
We heard from tech CEOs trying to defend their unexcusable actions.
While in Canada, new federal legislation targeting online harm has yet to be tabled. But following the suicide of a 12-year-old boy who was victimized online, British Columbia says it will introduce its own law this spring to hold social media companies accountable. Bergman says the harm caused is devastating. He also represents families of victims in a mass shooting at a Buffalo supermarket in 2022.
Discord stands out for the cross-fertilization of racist, misogynistic, and anti-Semitic material.
There is no place for you or your...
Disclaimer, not all Discord servers, because some Discord servers are lovely, amazing places full of lovely, amazing people. So just want to say that this is obviously in relation to these vile creatures.
Ignorant, hateful, and evil ideologies.
The Buffalo shooter, like Caleb Merritt and many others, used Discord's private chat rooms to spread hate and cause harm before crossing over to commit real-life acts of violence.
These platforms actually allow predators to operate at scale. So instead of one predator kind of sitting outside a school, he has the ability to scale and contact hundreds of kids at the same time.
After my daughter tried to kill herself, this is my job to look into this. There's other things I saw on her phone too, and it was just, are you going to cut for me again, bitch? And a lot of worse stuff. And then he asked her to cut 764 into her chest. And she immediately sent a picture of her chest saying, here. I understood that this is already an ongoing relationship. As I cycled through it, I saw sometimes you can see when there's a phone conversation, a 17-hour long phone conversation from the evening all the way till 7 o'clock in the morning or something. And there was 12-hour and 12-hour and then 5-hour and then sometimes just back and forth. But the part that was, I knew while I'm reading the messaging and I can see the timing of it, I'm just outside in the hallway sometimes. I put my boots on while she's chatting with this guy. I'm like, oh, this is right in my home. This guy's in my house, in my daughter's mind. And I don't have access to him.
He reached out to police in Canada, who contacted the FBI. The FBI is leading a global investigation into these groups.
I felt like I didn't know what was real anymore. I didn't know what to do.
As soon as I was found, they put me in the back of the car and drove me. They told me that I was going home, but I quickly found out that wasn't true. They eventually got the ambulance to take me to the next hospital. I didn't know what was happening. I wanted to be safe.
We went up and picked her up from the hospital, and when they brought her in, they had her in shackles. I said, Allie, I'll help you all the way. And I did.
After 36 hours on the run.
When we return, a missing girl is found, but the search for accountability continues.
Wild stuff, huh, chat?
The Texas man accused of traveling to Henry County to abduct a 12-year-old girl still in jail tonight.
When the police found me, I came home for a few days, and they found residential treatment, and I went there, and I stayed there for about a year.
And when they brought him in the courtroom, he wouldn't even look at me. It's just unimaginable for him to do something like that. You know what went through my mind. If I'd had a gun and could got to him, I'd have probably killed him.
Caleb Merritt was charged with use of communication device to solicit a minor, abduction with the intent to produce child pornography, 2 counts of rape, and 3 counts of producing child pornography.
What goes through your mind when you read those charges up?
An individual who needs to go to prison for a long period of time.
The total amount of time he was sentenced to was 350 years. As Caleb Merritt accepted
these guys are old school. It's no longer acceptable to call it child pornography. We call it CSAM, child sexual assault material. Anyway, that's cool. Okay, bro.
A plea deal to serve 33 years of that.
So what are the conditions of the plea deal?
He has to enroll in the sexual offender registry and have no contact with any of the victims for 50 years past their 18th birthday.
I think it can happen anywhere. No community across this country is immune from this. And I think that's what parents need to understand. And that's what individual law enforcement agencies need to understand.
In Canada, police are alert to the growing threat and its global scope. In an email to the Fifth Estate, the RCMP says it is aware of the online groups targeting minor victims internationally and the connection to ideologically motivated violent extremist groups. The RCMP added it has observed more youth involvement in the groups, but won't comment on how many Canadian cases they are investigating.
I can't help but blame myself a lot as a parent. I wrestle with that a lot, of how much I'm accountable for my daughter's self-esteem and not seeing the signs earlier. We kind of thought we'd have more time to catch our daughter slipping or falling or being depressed. What we've learned out of this is that the predators don't have to come and find your kids anymore. Your kids will go and find them. Yeah, it just happened so quickly and fast and right under our noses, and we thought we were doing all the right things. And it's like she was snatched up underneath us, but she was there the whole time. I didn't understand how insidious, I think was the word that rang in my brain, this cult was in our house the whole time, and we didn't see it.
Victims absolutely suffer in the dark. They're afraid to tell their parents. They're afraid to tell their safe adults. Plenty of them probably don't even have a safe adult. My story is not unique, and it's not unlike so many others. I was born in a religious cult, and I experienced over a decade of sexual abuse at the hand of a family member. I spent a lot of my childhood disassociating and trying to cope. 2 decades of trauma therapy later, sharing my freedom with others, helping them find their freedom too. I'm standing in a place that I hope others know is possible.
Brad Galloway's history also got him here.
Often I'm asked this question of how did you get to this work? In a past part of my life was involved in the far right. Usually when I talk about what got me wrapped up in far right extremism, if you will, is we're all searching for an identity. I started recognizing some of the things didn't add up. I was looking for a place to belong and be accepted. I learned a lot about empathy from my daughter when she was a baby. And, it was either the group or family. We had our daughter and I had realized that I cannot teach hate to a child. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the chance to change. I know every family struggles with how much screen time they want to give their kids or what they're looking at online. So again, digital literacy, what is your online presence? Like, who are you online?
Parents who have seen their children injured, harmed, abused, extorted, know that there's nothing they can do to take away these horrific actions that were subjected upon their children, but that through this advocacy, they can protect other children. And that's why they're doing it. And that's why I'm doing it. And if through our efforts, we can spur these companies to make safer products and save more kids, then everything we've done will have been worth it.
The call for action is getting louder.
You have blood on your hands.
A recent Senate Judiciary Committee blasted leaders of social media companies for their failure to protect children on their platforms.
My name is Jason Citron, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Discord. We build Discord so that anyone could build friendships playing video games, from Minecraft to Wordle. Just like with all technology and tools, there are people who exploit and abuse our platforms for immoral and illegal purposes. All of us here on the panel today and throughout the tech industry have a solemn and urgent responsibility to ensure that everyone who uses our platforms is protected from these criminals, both online and off.
The Fifth Estate requested an interview with Discord. It responded with a statement saying Discord has a zero-tolerance policy for child sexual abuse, and we vigilantly work to keep these people and this content off our platform. Adding, over 15% of our workforce is dedicated to trust and safety full-time and takes action when we become aware of this content, including removing it, banning users, shutting down servers, and engaging with the proper authorities.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, to have somebody being treated like she was treated by him, being older and the way he was doing her.
It really hits home that there are predators out there who are willing to take advantage of your child, and that's any child. No one is safe from this, and so every parent has to remember that. And so that, that's a component of overseeing this investigation that's always in the back of your mind. In many ways, this event, she'll be a victim of it for the remainder of her life. This will always be traumatic to her, and you hope and you pray that she can get the resources necessary to move beyond it and have a successful life.
Right here is where the tent was. Being back here, it reminds me of everything that happened, but I also like it because I get to look at this from a different standpoint now. Because I look at everything that happened and that spot or this spot or just walking through here in general, and then I see, wait, I did this. I overcame something horrible that happened right here in the woods behind my house. And it just reminds me of how strong I was. While I was in residential, I discovered that something that helped me get some things down was poetry. While I felt a burden, I realized I was not. I feel that now that I have come to the conclusion that I have a voice and that I have a purpose, I feel like I have so much value in myself. I have worth. I have a reason to be here. And doing this interview is helping me realize that my purpose can be to help other people. There will be no more chains. There will be no more pain. All that can run through my mind is I am finally free.
Fantastic. Muted. Yes, now I'm muted. That's like, what a brave girl. What a brave young woman. I'm so proud of her. Taryn says, other parents like to call me overprotective because I limit what my kids can do and monitor their every move online, but I don't care. Call me whatever you want. Same. I will protect mine. Yeah, it's really important. And to understand that this is what can happen and to not be terrified, but just to make sure that you educate your children. And who was it? Tiff said, and tell them why there are these boundaries that you're imposing on them, and for what reason, Yes. Very good, Mama, Taryn. Yes. You are a champion, Taryn. We are all champions. Love you, girls. Ladies, women are survivors, right? Sadly, it's sad that we have to be. So we'll go into some more specifics about Kyle Spitze now. You may have heard about this guy. I actually mentioned it to Oblivious Benson about 3 or 4 months ago, I guess. I don't know, time. And she pulled up some stuff on screen. I wanted to perhaps be able to do some OSINT with OB about this. But you know what? We can do this. I've got my direct contact, my good friend whose daughter was targeted by these people, Kyle Spitze. So anyway, when I was writing the Camp Shorty weekend blurb and putting it to Twitter and putting it in Discord and Facebook and on YouTube. I try to do that every weekend, like a stream schedule for the weekend. So I went to post it in the Miss Shorty schedule on Discord, which is a very safe Discord, by the way. Lurkers, replay crew, chat. So I posted it. Wait, let me pull this up. And this weird thing came up. I was like, what the fuck is this? So, no, not that. Yikes, Lisa. Hear this? Yes. So, if you can see, that's my nice big font that I use. Can I zoom in? I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't know how to zoom in. Can I? Not. Oh, there we go. Yay. I'll do one more. Yeah. So can you see there what I posted? I probably should have sent what I ended up doing. Discord wouldn't, it blocked it, it redacted. So it said 764 world work-wide. Oh, fantastic. That's on every fucking thing. Great. Work-wide online child extortion cult. Great. I love that typo for me. I'm such a professional. And then it said Kyle Spitze. Something about vermin. I can read you what it actually says. Hang on. Because I took out the Carl Spitze bit. Work. Oh, fuck. I didn't have my glasses on, and I haven't had much sleep in the last week, or food, or peace. It said, extortion cult, Carl Spitze, this piece of shit, a massive pile of shitty humans. Federal prison is too good for these evil vermin and predators who destroy lives forevermore. So Discord, it's obviously got a thing there. As soon as they saw Kyle Spitze, because his modus operandi by way of 764, the Discord server, it just redacted it straight away. So I did a workaround and took out Kyle Spitze, and the rest it let me do it. So interesting. This is a big deal, right? So let me just stop sharing that. Yay. So let's watch something on Kyle Spitze. And this creator, let me see. Oh, let me just share it. I think he hasn't had a video since this one, and it was 6 months ago. Disappointing because it's called part 1. But life gets in the way sometimes, right? Unless you're me and I just fucking soldier on, even though I'm dying inside. It's awesome. I love it. Which one is it? Yeah. Is it? Oh, let me just check. Yikes. Yes, it's this one. So, let me just... So this is what am I doing with my life? God only knows. I can't even make it do. I can't make it do. Why? Full screen. Motherfucker. Oh, okay, well, we'll just play and see if that works. Why? Why do you hate me? Is it because... Hang on. BRB. No, wait. I had it queued up. Talk amongst yourselves. Huzzah.
If you've been on the internet for even a small amount of time, there's no doubt you've fallen down these rabbit holes. Hell, maybe you've even enjoyed an ice rig. Whether it be on YouTube, X, Instagram, or some web forum, you've likely stumbled upon one, a lot of the time by mistake, often accompanied by some out-of-context image or screen cap, not knowing whatever you're looking at is part of some grander lore. However, not all rabbit holes are created equal.
I'm not great, Sharon.
Some are short and
really
may evoke a chuckle or
Thank
two.
you.
Some are mid-sized and may provide some additional insight into a gap of knowledge you've had. And others are extensive, cavernous. Some are plain and in sight, while others aren't so noticeable. Only if you choose to start digging is when the true scope of their depths begin to emerge. Going through these explorations and cataloging this real-life lore tends to be conducted by only the most devoted and brave of internet spelunkers and documentarians. Many do so simply for its own sake. Others may do it to carve a path for future explorers, while some do it to bring a light to an otherwise concealed darkness. Today will be one of those tunnels, a rabbit hole that brought light to an incredibly sinister ring of online extortionists that deal primarily in child exploitation. Even though this ring has been operating for a few years now, it's only recently that their activity has become more widely noticed. Unfortunately, it doesn't end with them. All of those that lie under the umbrella of these extortionists seem to be a cabal of decentralized degenerates and perverts seeking to satiate their disgusting urges. Under them, however, seems to be a deeper chasm, dealing with the vestiges of Cold War clandestine operations, the occult, and accelerationism. The series seeks to brighten the light that's been shone upon this pathology of evil. We'll begin with the man whom inadvertently brought wider attention to all this, a man by the name of Kyle William Spitze. Early in the new year of January 2024, this video was re-uploaded by Dying Scribe.
Get ready, boys. God, bring Jack right now.
It showcased Jeffrey Scott West and Kyle Spitze engaging in a drunken confrontation. The man's mother, Melanie Spitze, attempting but failing to quell the situation. Kyle would continue to escalate the ordeal by taunting the man, ending in West taking the shot he had promised. The bullet would only graze Spitze's ear and would end in Melanie screaming at West as Kyle ran outside into the surrounding forested area in an effort to escape any potential further attack. The police would be called, and a standoff would ensue between them and West, lasting about a total of 2.5 hours. It would unfortunately end in West taking his own life. Kyle and Melanie would escape mostly unscathed, for the time being. The video Kyle recorded seemed to be originally taken a few months prior in August of the previous year, at least according to the laptop's lock screen seen in the video. It would be a few months later when the recording would go viral, primarily on X, initially being posted by the aforementioned dying scribe on January 15th of 2024. Just a bit of an editor's note, Scribe's post was the first one I came across, and I did initially think his post was the first instance of virality, but I believe it went viral alongside another post made by Ragland1836, or Billy Ragland, which has double the numbers of Scribe's post, and was posted a little over an hour before Scribe. However, the information under Dying Scribe's post is a lot more useful, along with a few other tidbits of info regarding the overarching story, many trying to find additional context to what may have led up to the initial confrontation. Some interesting screenshots would be showcased along with the main post. It would be about a day later where the Daily Mail would report on the situation. He would even show up on the Law and Crime Network YouTube channel, where he would be interviewed by Jesse Weber and tell his side of the story a couple days later after the viral tweets.
We are joined right now by Kyle Spitze himself. Kyle, thank you so much for coming on here.
This is
and
wild.
Very nice to meet you.
Between the 15th and the 18th, many netizens would begin to dig further into the story. It wouldn't be more than a day later when posts like these would surface, along with many other posts accusing Kyle of grooming children, engaging in revenge/extortion, and being in possession along with the distribution of CP. Very notably, the accuser, at Baby Teeth Girl, would say he participates in some BS called 764. The same day, at Reddit Lies would post a couple of screen caps showcasing a post made by Reddit user Monty Gatorstan, discussing the grooming and extortion ring predominantly known as 764, posted 8 months prior. The user, in her warning to the reader, would directly name Kyle Spitze, associating him with the pseudonym Criminal, which can be seen in the screen caps posted by @DyingScribe of Kyle talking to an unknown party about the shooting. Just a day before Kyle had appeared on the Law and Crime Network, another Reddit post would surface, posted 2 years prior, titled "A Long and Potentially Illegal Confession," where user OldRain7463, otherwise known as QB, would tell his tale of how he stumbled into the 764 sextortion ring, listing off the many atrocities he had seen those within the ring commit, the sharing of CP, and the acts of sadistic torture and extortion, using threats of swatting and doxing along with blackmail in order to goat their victims into committing gruesome acts, such as fan signing, i.e. cutting specific letters, numbers, or symbols into one's body, even going as far to getting their victims to kill and fan sign their own pets. It would be a little under a month later, after the initial recording of Kyle's video, where the FBI would post a PSA regarding the 764 sextortionist groups, warning the public at large. This PSA would corroborate both posts.
That's what we saw in the last video, but that's an interesting thing, a public service announcement just to try and warn people. But how can you reach the whole world? That's why we're doing this today, is to warn people and share. If you could share this episode out on your socials, just to expand public awareness of this. I really appreciate that. I think parents everywhere and children everywhere should know about this, right?
Post made by QB and Monty Gatorstan. A day before Kyle appeared on Law and Crime, Dying Scribe would continue to post updates and revelations regarding Spitze, including screen caps from @BabyTeethGirl and QB's Reddit posts. One other tweet would go viral from @GameNosh, humorously summarizing what had been found. Unfortunately, the greater public eye would turn away from the ordeal, but law enforcement, along with Kyle's victims, would continue to work in the background. Not long after the Daily Mail article and the Law and Crime interview, Kyle would continue his usual activity on Telegram, along with mocking @BabyTeethGirl, as well as taking to his X account to post a handful of times. It wouldn't be much longer when the news of another tragic event would surface. A video of Melanie Spitze, the woman in the viral video, would be found dead. Kyle himself recording the aftermath of whatever may have happened leading up to her death, her body lying next to a blood-soaked bed. He would subsequently upload it to a private Telegram chat, but would be leaked by users within the group, and the video would make its way around X a few days later. many initially believing Melanie was the victim of homicide by Kyle's hands. Users within the Telegram chat saying as such. Telegram user SurgeHive XA333 would speculate about where the heavy amount of blood could have come from, saying, "From my POV, it looks like he shot or stabbed her." Very notably, he and presumably another user both recounted Kyle claiming to have killed a whole. A couple of days later, after her initial death, on 1/30/2024, Kyle would post a GoFundMe to garner donations from the news of his deceased mother, along with posting the news on Instagram. It would be a couple days after that when the Friendsville, Tennessee PD would confirm her death when inquired by BX on X. The same day, BX would report on another revelation on just how deep Spitze's alleged abuse activity went. She claimed to be in contact with a confidential source, whom shared evidence of Spitze claiming to have groomed 2,600 plus victims, and had hoped to reach 3,000 before getting feted. On February 3rd, Headline USA reported on the news of her death, not long after the video began circulating. They were even able to interview his father,
got it, Leah. Thank
Michael
you.
Spitze. He would go on saying that his son spiraled into the clutches of satanic cults 6 years prior, during his and Melanie's divorce, claiming Kyle was groomed into such behavior by an anonymous woman 20 years his senior, a woman he calls Tara. Quote, "He was just turning 18, and that woman convinced him to move to Washington State, and she groomed him and taught him how to do this stuff online," the father said. "I hate her." Michael would claim the death of Melanie was unrelated to his son's involvement with 764, saying her death was a heroin overdose. His conclusion for this theory was the Narcan inhaler that is visible within the recording. As for the blood-soaked sheets, he claimed Melanie had serious liver cirrhosis and that she vomited the blood, saying her autopsy report would vindicate this theory. He was told by detectives that no visible marks were found on her body. However, Michael would refer to his wife's death as a murder, saying Kyle had nothing to do with his wife's murder. Headline would continue with some follow-up questions, asking why he referred to his wife's death.
Just gonna say, Ernie, have fun watching Seeing Santa. Thank you for being here for a little while. I appreciate you, and LK, thank you also for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. This is a heavy one, so it's important though. So thank you, and thank you, Ernie. Have fun with Santa.
In such a way, he would vehemently deny this and further proclaim his son's innocence in his mother's death and his involvement with 764. Even when presented with proof, he continued to proclaim his son's innocence, however shaken in that resolve. Kyle himself was found to be held up in a psychiatric ward.
Hey Skylar, it's Kyle. I just wanted to call you and let you know that I'm in a hospital. Kind of like the psychiatric one, but I just wanted to hear your voice. Yeah. You won't really be able to call back this number. I'll have to call you. But I guess next time I call, if you see Summer pop up, you'll know it's me. Yeah. Goodbye. I still love you.
But would be released not long after. Confirmation of this would come from ex-user Grale, Kyle responding to her slew of messages. Kyle, just like his father, would also proclaim his innocence in regards to his mother's death. Two other Telegram users, both just after the tragedy, and later on, presumably after his release from the psychiatric ward. Later the same month, Melanie's obituary would be made public.
Just pausing for a moment. Gen X, I'm glad we can body double with you while you do some cleaning, listening, and listening along. Thank you for being here. Anybody else who's out there just listening and absorbing all this heavy stuff, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Not too long after, Headline USA would report on a follow-up. Knoxville police announcing her death as accidental, saying fatal levels of fentanyl were found in her system, coupled with other comorbidities. Although not mentioned in the article, it may have been the aforementioned liver cirrhosis Michael had stated. The article would go on saying, her death is not believed to be suspicious. There were no signs of external injury or trauma. The next day, the news of Kyle's formal arrest would be published.
Yay, colors.
7 days later, it was announced that he was formally charged with several counts of child exploitation. According to the Headline USA article, federal agents were able to secure a search warrant on Spitze's phone on February 10th and found an abundance of CSAM and violent content. The contents of one folder labeled minor victim 1, was able to help the FBI track down the aforementioned victim. According to the affidavit linked in the article, CART, or Computer Analysis Response Team, were able to use the metadata within one of the recordings to obtain the geolocation data of where MV1 had created the videos. They were subsequently able to track her down and obtain her testimony against Spitze. CART was also able to gain access to Spitze's Telegram chat as he left himself logged in. The affidavit proves without a shadow of a doubt that Kyle William Spitze had operated under the pseudonym Criminal. At the time of this video, only 5 pages of the affidavit have been unsealed. The remaining 28 pages remain redacted until the ongoing investigation concludes. It would be a month later, on March 31st, where Headline USA would report on Spitze's not guilty plea in his charge of distribution of CSAM. Key word is distribution. According to his court indictment, he still faces 3 counts of production of CSAM, 1 count of possession and access with intent to view CSAM, 3 counts of distribution of animal crushing videos, and 1 count of enticement. According to the headline article, he is yet to be offered a plea deal, and if such a deal is in the works, April 26th of 2024 would be its due date. If no deal is offered, he will stand trial on May 28th of 2024.
Just pausing to say this video was released 6 months ago, thereabouts, so there have been developments since. I need to do more research to tell you what they are. Pretty sure he did take a deal. Wow, I am a professional. Anyway.
2024. He has since been moved to federal safe housing in Blount County, Tennessee. Now that you're up to date with the Kyle Spitze story, let's dive into the group he was a part of, the extortion group known as 764. It's important to know that
I'm just going to pop this up again because yikes.
the term 764 has become an umbrella term. It may have not have started out as that, but since its inception, many different groups have been made and all go under different names and monikers and come from all different regions of the world. However, they all have the same general purpose, primarily lying in the extortion of children. Their reach has become so prolific, Ruben Sim was able to catfish someone on Roblox whom claimed to be a part of Kaskar, one of the groups the FBI directly named in their PSA. This user was showcased in his video, fighting Roblox's gooning crisis. The user would find out about his showcase and reach out to Ruben. The two would have a brief interaction, to which the user would admit his involvement with Kaskar. Ruben would then post this interaction on his X account. Unfortunately, I can't show you this, as Ruben deleted his post regarding the interaction, along with everything else on his Twitter, as he tends to do periodically. Let's start from the beginning. Where did 764 come from? Whom created it? In a recent expose regarding the extortion networks, answers to those questions were revealed. The now infamous sextortion umbrella term 764 was started by Bradley Cadenhead. Now, before I show you his face, I want you to imagine for a second what you think Cadenhead might look like.
This is
and how
wild,
old he
chat.
is.
This is
Perhaps
wild.
someone bearing the likeness of Judge Holden from Blood Meridian, or maybe someone akin to Christopher Paul Neal, otherwise known as Mr. Swirl. Maybe someone in their late 20s or early 30s. Nah, it's this kid, a pudgy ginger who wasn't even 18 years old at the time of his arrest. However dopey this kid looks, he truly is a case of don't judge a book by its cover, especially when his court documents start with this bright, bold pink text warning to parole authorities, stating, "Attention parole authorities. Prior to or upon consideration of this defendant for release on parole, please contact the undersigned district attorney's office at phone number to arrange a review of the video and photographic evidence recovered from the defendant. The evidence depicts child, but also includes video and photographic materials reflecting the defendant's interest in, fascination with, and proclivity for infant murder and sexual assault, child mutilation, torture and death, human self-mutilation. The defendant is dangerous." Going through these documents, along with the news articles, paints Cadenhead in a fairly grim light. The kid had discovered hardcore pornography at 8 years old and developed an interest in more violent, gore-orientated content a mere 2 years later, saying he watched it for the shock value. He continued to consume such content until he was 16 years old. Before his online activities were more widely known, He had popped up on local law enforcement's radar in 2018. His court documents citing various terroristic threats regarding his school, many students and even teachers filing complaints about the boy, saying he wanted to shoot up the school and go home and kill kids, along with comments on creating bombs. He would subsequently be placed under juvenile probation, but would violate his terms not long after and be sentenced to 10 days in juvenile detention. Unfortunately, leading up to his formal arrest a couple of years later, Cadenhead would continue in his online activities with his unfettered internet access, continuing to consume more violent gore and torture-related content. A turning point would come for the boy, as he stated in an interview written on his statement of facts form. According to him, he became acquainted with an unknown party through Minecraft, whom continued to deepen his fascination with such content. According to Wired's expose, Discord's security team had provided research that had showed Cadenhead had learned a variety of extortion and child grooming techniques through a Discord server called Cult. Cult itself being another sextortionist group. Its notoriety became more widely known, at least in law enforcement circles, when Caleb Christopher Merritt was arrested. He had been caught abusing and eventually abducting a 12-year-old girl. He was fortunately caught and had admitted in his police interview that he was part of the group. He was later sentenced to 350 years in prison, with parole eligibility being at the 33-year mark. Cult itself being a breakout from the comm networks, another umbrella term used to describe a variety of cyber-based criminal activity. I spoke to a guy with his ear pretty close to the ground with regards to these networks, and he was able to clarify it for me. I quote, "Comm as a whole is a giant cesspool comprised of many different groups and offshoots of those groups. This includes 764, Leak Society, Court, 2992, NLM, 7997, etc., to name a few. Some of the groups are just basic chat groups, while others are more focused on certain activities and or ideologies. A few channels deal solely in criminal activities such as selling stolen SIMs, swatting, doxing, and in some cases, there are people who are willing to do cut signs for others at a price. Other chats are full of hateful people looking to harm others, and those chats also contain people who want to be harmed, kind of a sadomasochistic kind of vibe in my opinion. Some of the darker channels require you to do some kind of crime to get in, which they'll typically use against you if you try to leave. Sort of like gangs. Blood in, blood out. From there, Cadenhead created the now infamous 764 Extortion ring, claiming the initial server he had ran had hundreds of gore-related content, along with plenty of CSAM-related materials. The same server was able to accumulate between 200 to 400 followers. Why 764? Well, lack of creativity, I guess.
Absolutely.
As 764 is just the first 3 digits of Stephenville, Texas's zip code, the town in which Cadenhead lived. There really isn't any other significance.
Okay. So I had heard, obviously, don't trust anything you hear. Yeah, Tiff, lobotomy candidate, absolutely. Me too. Just honestly, take out my brain. Save me. I'd heard that it was because he had the Discord server had 764 moderators. So that's a lot more romantic than it being the first 3 digits of his zip code. But there you go. Facts. Bringing receipts.
764's more prominent reach and graduation into an umbrella term. It seemed to have been a bona fide cult, Cadenhead taking its reins of leadership, many on the server idolizing him as the cult's leader, at least according to the kid himself. Unfortunately, his reign of terror would continue for a couple of years before his arrest in 2021, as Discord had alerted law enforcement of Cadenhead's activity a total of 58 times. Before this, he and other members of the group were able to lure in and victimize many young children, primarily girls. They would lull them into a false sense of security in order to obtain explicit materials from his victims. Once he and the others had those materials, he used them as leverage to get these girls to commit various grotesque acts. From having the girls carve their names onto their bodies, otherwise known as fan signing, all the way to getting their victims to kill their pets. One particularly grotesque...
Taryn is bathing the babies. The baby. We have a bath sound for that. Taryn, I've been waiting for someone to say they were going to bath the kids. Here it is. Beautiful. Anyway, you're good. Nobody here is misbehaving, Taryn. Thank you.
Grotesque event mentioned in the Wired expose is Cadenhead, along with others, goading a girl known as Eve to bite her pet hamster's head off, along with committing various other forms of abuse against the girl. Unfortunately, Cadenhead wouldn't be charged with her abuse, as the Stephenville PD wasn't aware of the incident until the FBI brought it to their attention when asking for the contents of Cadenhead's computer in late 2023. Even though the boy was charged and sentenced because of the CSAM-related content, the interviewing officer in the statement of fact form says Cadenhead didn't seem overly interested in that aspect of the server he had cultivated, and was far more captured by the violent gore and torture content. He just used the CSAM to attract and keep followers within his server. The kid would subsequently be sentenced to 80 years in prison. 80 years? I mean, I think that should be the minimum, but other fairly prolific predators have garnered far less for just as horrific crimes. Sarah Vanden Burge of Beneath the Surface News was able to get a clarifying statement from Lieutenant Jeremy Lehner, one of the officers who worked on the case. Lehner saying, "To be perfectly honest, the CSAM is probably the least egregious crime he has committed. He's a scary kid. His whole thing is about online manipulation. The evidence presented at the punishment hearing showed that the defendant possessed images of young children not only being sexually abused, but also choked, beaten, suffocated, and grievously injured. The defendant used these images to coerce others into mutilating themselves, including carving his screen name into their bodies and harming animals." Sarah goes on to ask what Cadenhead's reaction to the investigation was. Lehner responded, "He couldn't have cared less." Later ending with, "If he had continued access to the internet, I believe he would have continued this behavior." Cadenhead is justly behind bars, but unfortunately his legacy lives on, as 764 has grown far beyond him and has taken on many different pseudonyms and monikers. The depraved sextortion of minors and the creation of snuff films still carrying on every day within the depths of Discord and Telegram, Kyle Spitze being a prime example of this blighted legacy. However, it doesn't end with them, nor their ilk. Cadenhead wasn't the only ground zero within his depraved community. Another user who went by the name Duck, or Gore Butcher, had piqued the FBI's initial interest into the sextortion cabal, otherwise known as Angel Almeida, an equally vile and grotesque predator. Just like Cadenhead, he used manipulation tactics in order to extort minors online. However, he is believed to be responsible for the proliferation of Satanism that now permeates within most of these circles. Not just any Satanism, a certain kind of Satanism. But I'll save that for the next installment. So until then, stay tuned, because it only gets stranger from here. Now get out.
So, unfortunately, there's no part 2, and that was 6 months ago. But, you know, we get the picture. It's a terrifying picture, right? So, my good friend did send me a DM, and it goes back to what we were talking about when we were talking about educating our children and having conversations with our children about the chances of something like this happening, and for adults, for parents to understand that this could happen to anyone, and honestly, even if you are vigilant with your children and their online activities. My friend said, one thing that I really need people to know is that we had way more monitoring. This is my friend, monitoring and restrictions than anyone else we know, and I know that. My friend is an amazing parent. She homeschools her children and is engaged, and she teaches them. So open dialogue and conversations about this stuff from a very early age, including professional input from psychologists, but they still got her daughter. We all think that it won't happen until it happens. Just wanted to throw that out there. Excuse me. Oh my God, I'm dying. Fucking vapes. Just wanted to throw that out there so that people know that it happens when you think it can't. So this is why it's really important for us to have this conversation, because this is not a parent who let her children or now lets her children just roam free. No Roblox babysitting. No conversations not being had, no stone left unturned. So have those conversations and be aware of it, and understand that even with all of those things in place, if your child ends up becoming a victim to predators like this or similar, whether that's online or in IRL, that no shame. You've done your best. You've done your best, and unfortunately, there are people like this out there who are depraved and have no moral compass, clearly. So I spoke about the fact that Australia has just introduced this week, 2 days ago, like literally in the last couple of days, legislation was passed to increase the legal age of social media access for children. So let me just pull this little clip from, get ready for some Australian accents, y'all. This is the first in the world. Australia is the first in the world to do this. I'm not sure, like the world is watching, yeah? I lost my train of thought. Easily done. Happens like about 45 times a minute. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for being kind to me when I'm feeling a little fragile today. I appreciate your words of support, people who've DM'd me and in chat. It's all right. It's okay. I'm tired. I need a holiday. I need time off work. And I need for people to lay the fuck off me. Jealousy is a curse, right? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay. Oh, good. The neighbors are doing something noisy out there. Sorry about that. What do we got? This. And thank you, Colours, for sending a picture of Juno. What a sweet little bebe. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I did see your message come through. Thank you, babe.
Of the world on Australia this morning after Parliament passed sweeping world first laws overnight banning children and teenagers from social media. The move means anyone under the age of 16 will be blocked from using TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat and Facebook from the end of next year.
The late vote capped off a frantic day in the Senate, where the government managed to ram through most of its legislative agenda on the final sitting day of the year. Frontbencher Murray Watt is live with us next hour, but first to our political reporter Peter Lusted at Parliament House and our Europe Bureau Chief Zoe Ford, who's following all the reaction from London. Good morning, both. First to you, Peter. Take us through the details.
Yeah, Mike, it was late last night that this social media ban passed the Senate because Labor and the Coalition had combined to get it through. There were some Coalition senators, Matt Canavan and Alex Antic, who voted against it, concerned it was being rushed through, but it passed comfortably. Now, this ban, as you mentioned, will cover social media platforms like TikTok and Snapchat. It won't cover messaging apps, things like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. Now, importantly, for parents and for teenagers as well, it doesn't come in place today. It'll come in place a year from now. So still some time to get used to that. Now, as far as how it actually works, well, we know that the emphasis will be put on the social media platforms to keep kids under 16 off them, and the East Safety Commissioner will be watching them to make sure they're complying and can hand out fines if they are not complying. Now, as far as the technical method to check if people are under the age of 16, we don't actually know how that's going to work yet, if there's going to be ID checks, if there's going to be face scanning, if this is going to happen at the App Store level. All this is still to play out, so there's a lot to come on this. The one thing we do know is that the government has said that people won't have to hand over their passports to social media companies to get this through.
Well, thank goodness.
Now, Zoe, take us through the international reaction. There's been plenty of it.
Good morning, Michael. There has been a flurry of attention around the globe to Australia's move here. All the big news sites like the New York Times, the BBC, CNN, news sites throughout Asia are covering this. The BBC.
There's Sydney accents. Australian accents are generally pretty homogenized, uniform. South Australian accents are quite different. Sydney is different to Melbourne. Melbourne's a little more posh. South Australia, Adelaide accents are ludicrous. And then Brisbane, you can tell a Queenslander, but my accent is a sort of a mishmash of all of them, including I speak tradie, I speak workman, because I spend all my day with blokes, and my best friend IRL that I've met is an absolute bloke. If you've ever seen any of my peasant worksheet videos, sometimes Bianca features there. She's a fucking pisser.
E's news channel here, the 24-hour channel, has been having live guests for both sides of the argument throughout the day, as has Sky News UK. In Switzerland, the news site Blick has called the Land of Kangaroos move a controversial one. It had an interview with Michelle Rowland there, and Russian state media has also been reporting on this and said that here in Russia, Facebook is already banned, Instagram's already banned and recognised, quote, as extremist. The global news agency Reuters has been speaking, though, to teenagers, young people around Europe about what this ban would mean for them, what they think of it happening in Australia. And this is what some of the young people Reuters spoke to said.
And I feel like people under the age of 16 right now wouldn't know how to live without their phones and social media. Like, it'd be a really hard change for them.
We are a new generation that is accustomed of having social media in our life, and it's something we use on a daily basis. And I think restricting our use isn't going to help us.
Some sort of limitations for younger kids, because there's a lot of stuff online which is quite dangerous and scary for young kids to see. So I think it's good to have some sort of ban.
So, Mazoe, are any of the countries in Europe considering following Australia's lead?
Well, the UK Technology Secretary has said that he is certainly looking at what Australia is doing with great interest, how Australia is doing it, why Australia is doing it, and what evidence there may be to back that up. In France, they already introduced laws last year banning social media for children under 15 without parental consent, and other European nations say they're also watching what Australia is doing on this.
There you go. You know what I think? What do you think? What do you think, chat? OnlyFlan, good to see you. Lurking. I love a good lurker. You're a bloody good lurker, girl. Singapore represent. So that. Terrifying. We're going to keep going with this kind of cult theme intermittently, not every week, because I'm limited with my time that I have available to stream. God, what's my hair doing? Ridiculous. Same as my life. Fucking nightmare. But yes, Amy Boston suggested perhaps we might want to try looking into some Scientology stuff. Got a few other suggestions. So if you want to suggest any cult adjacent or direct cult cults that perhaps we'd like to cover, please perhaps send me an email. It's missshorty@gmail.com. Ditto, send me an email if you've got beef with me. Let's fucking talk, right? Or on Discord. Maybe Jess could. Oh, it's all right. I can do it. I'll drop my Discord link in chat because there's no predators in there, and you're safe there. Very safe in my Discord. Let me just grab that now. And I've got a nose whistle. Fantastic. I love that for me and for all of you. That's my Discord there. I think everybody here's in my Discord, but if you're not, that's that. So, Taryn said, I had to pop back in to say Louisiana makes you upload your driver's license or state ID to access certain websites, porn, tobacco, alcohol, adult only. Interesting. That's a good way to do it. It's a bit like ordering alcohol be delivered to you at your home, like food, and having to. Seriously, I'm such a red hot mess. I did my regrowth. Sorry, I'm distracted by that. Did my regrowth and I live 2 weeks ago. Yeah, when you get alcohol delivered, you need to show your license but to have to upload it to be able to access those sites is a very interesting thing. Jess says, thank you. Tiff says, guess what, kiddies? We live without phones and the internet just fine. Yeah, it's hard to go back though, right? It is hard to go back. It's an interesting one. Not the same, but similar. in New Zealand, they passed a law a couple of years ago, putting oh my God, I should have thought of this before I said it, in terms of smoking. So they're phasing out cigarette smoking in New Zealand. Now, let me think of it, because I should have thought what I was going to say before I said it, but that's how I roll. Fucking professional. I think they've made it that the legal age of smoking in New Zealand is now going up every year. So that generation of children will never be able to smoke, because as every year it goes up by a year. So children who were a certain age when the legal age was, I guess, probably 18, guessing, speculating. So eventually when the generation is passed in New Zealand, nobody will be able to buy cigarettes. And so that's how they're phasing out cigarette smoking in New Zealand, which is interesting, I think, and very good. Have to upload ID for a vape battery. Well, shit. That's fine. I have my ID. Yep. Yes, Debbie. I understand, like I get it. It's hard in chat sometimes. And if you're just listening and you maybe hear something and you come in, if people are coming to you about things, like it's just easy. Like, honestly, I'm pretty approachable. I don't think I'm that scary. I really would prefer, and I'm always going to listen. Just contact me. It's very disappointing. I'm kind of devastated this week, chat, to be honest. It's heavily affecting me. Even my face. I've lost weight off my face, which is not a bad thing. Oh, Dave's channel. Hey, Dave. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I think I've chirped up a little bit. And you know what's going to chirp us up even more? Hey, Dave. A little bit of fucking Amber Turd. A little bit of Johnny Depp. Ben Chu. Camila Vasquez. That's next. About 15 minutes. I don't know how to portal, and Adam's not here, so I can't do that, but you all know how to find my next stream, right? Let's have a little bit of fun. I think I'd like to play my Come At Me Bro song again, because it's a banger, and I'm very proud of it. I've been writing, actually, I wish I could. Did you all hear my song that I wrote called Hey Massachusetts, What the Actual Fuck? I've been getting into writing music. It's so cool. I have a lot of things to say. And for someone who doesn't listen to music anymore, it's very cathartic. Oh my God, my throat clearing. Sorry. How do they verify that you're the person on the ID, I wonder? Well, I mean, that's a technicality, right, Tiff? Just that I had to start scanning my ID with Instacart for cold medicine, even like Zicam. Yes, Dave will be on the next one. Lovely. Yes, I do have some bangers. So I sent this with no video, just the lyrics on the screen. My Hey Massachusetts, it's great. I've put it through a few times to get different styles. There was a cool doo-wop one, but a bit slow. There was a cool country and western one, which is so funny because at the start of it says just his accent, but then I put in Christian rock uplifting with a female vocal, and it's in my Discord, it's on Twitter. Tommy CPU played it on his live. I'm pretty excited because yes, love the song. Yes. Johnny Depp and the entire legal team both. Yes. And we didn't get through really anything last week. We got a lot to go with. So let me hang on. I'm going to pull up the song because it makes me feel better. And I talk big, but like I mean it. I will call people out. I don't want to. I hate beef. I hate drama. Like I don't, it doesn't interest me. I don't have the time or the energy. I feel like it's unfair. And whatever reason that people are getting feeling like I am saying or doing things that make them feel a certain way, how can I change it if you don't come to me? How can I change my behavior? How can I apologize? Or how can we clarify what actually happened if all anybody generally is doing is like assuming that I'm a fucking piece of shit? Exactly, OnlyFan. Beef is only good grilled. Yum. Hungry. Hard hungry. We'll have to have cheese breaks in the next live. That's all. That's all. I'm really accessible. Come to me. Don't bother Adam. He's not my gatekeeper. I'm feeling very overwhelmed at the moment. But to prevent this and to prevent the assumptions that people have been making about me and about Adam, and the fact that sometimes Adam's been the front man for these conversations is only because I get very easily overwhelmed. I'm working full time, very tired. It sounds like excuses, but I'm quite a fragile person. I'm quite I'm a highly sensitive person, and he's been just a lot of what's happened has been Adam being very protective of me, not because I've asked him to do my dirty work. Anyway. I'm trying not to worry about it, Zach. It's just been an onslaught. Honestly, it's just been a whole thing. Shut up, Lisa. Shut up, Shorty. Let's go with the song. It's only an audio. So anyway, love. Rock out with your cock out.
Come to my attention, glad you think I have bad intentions. You misinterpret every word I say, reading the things never there, but hey, so fuck with me, game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro. I'm the epitome of poison class. Your meager girl, sit down, that ass. You need to realize I will call you out, even as I grace you with the benefit of doubt. You've put on quite a show. It's time we talk this out. It's true you're trying to steal my glow, but I'm truly not put out. It's pretty clear you made a choice, my words to misconstrue. But I simply don't hold grudges, so girlfriend, you do you. Perhaps you don't believe it, but trust me, this much is true. If you fuck around, you will find out. So girl, I promise you, don't fuck with me. Game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro. Trust me, this much is true. If you fuck around, you will find out. So girl, I promise you, don't fuck with me. Game on, oh girl, let's go. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. Come at me, bro.
Oh my God. The number of times I've listened to that song on repeat and belted it out. My drive to work is at the moment where I'm working my site is 40 odd minutes. It's a 2-minute song, repeat the whole way, like just trying to feel anything other than the I've been feeling. So yeah, cool song, huh? That is epic. Fuck around and find out, mate. I wrote it while I was at work. I was just standing there and I was just typing, and everything I was feeling over the last, with all the stuff just came out. And so it makes me feel a lot better. Music is salve for the soul, right? Yes, come at me, bro. Fuck around and find out. But I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to get to that point. It's unnecessary. It's not mature. It's counterproductive. Let's just talk, right? All right, chat. You know what? I'm going to go and use the bathroom and, I don't know, like have a little cry, maybe throw a few things. I'm joking. Might play that song a few more times though, right? See you on the next one. Det V heard. Hey, drop a comment in the comments down below after the live has ended, just to get this stream out there into the algorithm. And also if you'd like to make any suggestions, anything that as far as parental controls that you might use, anything you might have sort of heard in terms of how we can best navigate through this terrifying world of the potential for online child exploitation. Thank you, Helen. I say, man, I am so tired. I'm so tired. I'm just doing my best. I work 7 days a week, guys. I have had 1 day off since July. I stream every day. I would like every weekend. I know it's not a pity party. I'm just saying I would never intentionally hurt or offend anyone. And the fact that I am incidentally offending or hurting people to the fact that they feel the need, just talk to me. Let's work it out. Huh? Mwah! I love your faces. Let's fucking go. Yeah.
Christmas night, she's a fucking delight. Winter cold to hot summer rays, reindeer will fly pulling Santa's sleigh. 2 countries a world away, the same holiday. The Cloud Queen cares for everyone, her roller coaster ride has only just begun. This is her wish, debug, demystify, destigmatize. Miss Shorty's on the naughty list. There's 2 days and Christmas out, our global roller coaster goes around. It's the holidays at every turn, she is a Christmas star out of Melbourne. Miss Shorty connects all the lights, just checking out all bright to light up Christmas night. She's a